Thinking about quitting your job? Don't. Well, at least wait. I have 4 things to share with you that will ensure that the process is a much better experience. And whether you resign or you don't resign, which is a question a lot of people are asking right now, your life will improve and it'll make the current job that you have, the company that you want to start, or the next job that you have so much better. Let's get into it. You have been thinking about it, haven't you? You've been enjoying the freedom and flexibility that comes with being able to set your own work schedule, work from jammies, sometimes not even wear any pants. I'm not telling, and you're not alone. There are literally millions of people that are also thinking about this. In fact, millions of people are actually doing this. And so what I'm about to share with you is not whether or not you should or should not resign from your job, but it's the 4 things that, as hundreds of hours worth of therapy with professionals and entrepreneurs, have helped fill in those gaps to make whatever the next decision is so much better. Your life so much better. I know, I'm Bunny Young, and I am the founder of over a dozen companies, but I'm also a business therapist and growth coach. And this is the Power of Purpose channel. For those of you who've been here before, welcome back. For those of you that are new, please click the subscribe link below, like this video, leave me a comment. I don't like to waste a lot of time, so let's get into it. I'm about to drop some truth bombs. I get it. You don't really like your coworkers. You may or may not like your constant project management, micromanagement. I'm not quite sure, but most likely you're not having all the feels around your boss. And definitely the thought of getting back in the car and doing that 45-minute commute, especially in traffic, is not ideal. And I hate to break it to you, but none of that is actually going to change if you do in fact decide to resign. Well, maybe the commute might. Here are the things, and the good news is that these things are within your control, contrary to your boss, your coworker, and traffic, that you can do today that are going to not only improve that clarity on that decision on whether or not to resign, but they're also going to help you in so many other areas of your life. That's what I do, work-life alignment, all day, every day with professionals and with entrepreneurs. And so I'm going to share with you the 4 most common areas that we get to improve that basically impact everything else. Here they are: boundaries, purpose, self-care, and grit. And I'm going to jump into each one for just a second. I'm also going to share with you a little bonus one at the end, so stay tuned for that. So boundaries. So many of us absolutely suck with boundaries. If you are working for $100 an hour, here's the analogy. If you spend that 1 hour at work and then you go home and you check your email, you respond to email, you check Slack, you start thinking about that project so you can't go to sleep. You've just diluted that $100 an hour, and now you're probably making less than $10 an hour in actuality. You're not getting paid for that time that you're not setting up boundaries. And so that salary is getting heavily diluted. The other thing about boundaries is that as much as you want to complain about people emailing you after hours, you're setting those expectations by responding to those emails. You set these expectations the second that you start communicating. You're setting a cadence and a pattern. And in 2021, there are so many ways to use automation and systems in order to let people know when you are or are not available, or when you are or are not responding to emails. And having this set of boundaries not only improves your mental health, but it also improves your productivity and the quality of response. And so you're not actually a better, more productive person by being constantly available. You're a better, more productive person by being able to have boundaries. And this includes social media. When you have those notifications constantly pinging all the time, and I have a video all about that right here, you are not giving yourself that time to rest and recover and reset. So start small, but start today, setting up boundaries and letting people know when you're available and when you're off. And start by letting yourself know that it's okay to turn off. Give yourself that permission to turn off. Put your phone in another room to charge. Turn it on Do Not Disturb mode. There was a time where we did not have cell phones and we survived. And cell phones are one of the biggest culprits in this boundary war. If you need more on this, I did you the favor of dropping a free download on Time Savers right below this video, and it's also on our website. So go ahead and grab that. That's my free gift to you. You don't want to miss out on that. I'll remind you again at the end of the video, but it's right here and it's right here. So make sure that you grab it. That's number one. Number two is purpose. And this may sound simple, and quite frankly, it is. Without a purpose, it's very difficult to find meaning at work. And so people will leave jobs and leave companies and say how much the environment was toxic or the person was toxic. And they'll cycle through this every 1 to 2 years to 6 months. And what they're searching for is not the right environment, they're searching for their purpose. And so here's the exercise I want you to do. Think about the last 4 positions that you've had. And I want you to write down absolutely everything that you loved and enjoyed about those positions, and then everything that you didn't. And then make another list of your skills, your abilities, what people say that you're really good at, and what you love doing. And I guarantee you that you can find some themes in the positive column on what your purpose is. You can also identify some things to avoid that detract from your purpose and take you off of that road. When you are really clear on your purpose, you may be able to find a job that fulfills that purpose. Most doctors have a purpose of wanting to help people, and that role that they go to school for fulfills that purpose. And so it's not to say that once you find your purpose, you're going to have to start a company. That may be the case in order to fulfill your purpose. Like in my case, I didn't have a job description that would check all of the boxes for me wanting to make the world a better place in the very specific way that I wanted to do it with work-life alignment coaching. So I did. I started a company. But you don't necessarily have to. And you can. Either way, it's much easier. Well, it's much simpler when you have a really clear purpose. Then when opportunities come along or clients come along, you can say, yes, this fits within my purpose or it doesn't. Without that clarity, everything just kind of seems like maybe it's a good idea until it's no longer a good idea. And then we put that time and energy and effort into it. And that can feel not so great. So this is definitely number 2 on the list of things to make sure that you're checking off before you make that big decision on whether or not to resign from your current position. Number 3 is non-negotiable, and it actually should have been number 1, self-care. And I'm not talking about getting a manicure or playing that 9 holes of golf. Self-care is so much deeper than that. And it is not just about catching up on the sleep that you missed last night. It is about being able to set up that ritual and that habitual time to take care of yourself and replenish and restore. And that kind of goes back to that whole boundaries conversation, right? Taking care of yourself is going to impact not just your job, not just your company, but it impacts every single relationship that you have with coworkers, with your significant other, with family, with kids, and the most important relationship of all, yourself. You are the one asset that we cannot replace. We can always make more money. We can always make more energy. But we can never make more you or more time. And so your time is the most precious asset that you have. And if you are so exhausted that the time that you're showing up, you're not even really present or there, or you're thinking about the million other things that you've got to do, or you're just so fatigued from the past year, then really there's not a whole lot of value there. So if you combine that boundaries and focus on the things that are within your purpose, you're going to find that it's more simple to take care of yourself, and you're going to find that your cup is fuller. And when your cup's fuller, you have more to give back to life, and it feels so good. You can actually enjoy the things in your life. And the very last thing is grit. There's been a lot of talk about grit and what it is. And so I'll give you the definition if you want to read it. But I'll also tell you that grit is, for me, that cocktail of when you have really strong boundaries, when you have a really clear purpose, and when you have your cup full from self-care. Grit is that cocktail that comes out of that combination. It means that when you come up against an obstacle or change, and it's not a if, it's a when, hello 2020, that you're going to be able to have the resources in order to get through it and move confidently through it. And so that to me is what grit is. And the good news is that when we're able to access this, it's within ourselves. No one can take it away from us. And so it's not something that you need to be given. It's something that you can give yourself. There are going to be days and times at any company, in any job, that are not going to be truly enjoyable. And you're going to need to be able to tap into that grit in order to get through it. And so being able to have that bank account full with that self-care that you have been investing, and being able to have the boundaries to know when to say no, and being able to have that purpose that you can focus on and stay laser focused on, means that you'll get through it. And that is what grit means to me, is the knowledge that you will get through it. I know that you can get through it. I want you to know and give yourself that permission as well. So now that you have those 4 things, boundaries, purpose, self-care, and grit, you have my full and total permission to go and write your resignation letter if you would like. In fact, while you're at it, go ahead and write your resignation letter for your previous life, because you're done with that, right? There's not going to be any more checking your email all day long, being constantly available, no boundaries, and being exhausted and fatigued and all of that. Well, there still may be days and times, but that's what you have grit for. I told you the bonus thing would be your life will be better once you hit that subscribe button below, the notification bell, like this video, and let me know in the comments. Write your resignation letter right here in the comments, and I will give you a reply and accept your resignation for your old life right here, right now. And I told you I'd remind you one more time about that download that is in the description right below this video. So make sure that you grab that free Time Savers download. As always, thank you for making the world a better place, and I'll see you in the next video.